Well, my background was my undergraduate degree was not in social work. And as I graduated and looked for jobs, I was really drawn to professions that help people. I was drawn to maybe teaching or maybe doing social work, maybe counseling. And so I worked for a couple of years right out of undergraduate, working for the Lexington Rescue Mission and then the school system. And I gained things from both of those jobs, but neither of them felt quite right for me. Kind of working with an adult population wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but working in the school system wasn't either. And so as I explored kind of further training I might want to do, I really settled on social work because it felt broad enough for me to maybe do a lot of different jobs since I wasn't 100% sure this is exactly what I want to do. This is the exact population I want to work with. I really at first was ruling out things I didn't want to do and kind of thought, oh, this might be it for me, and then had the job and said, that's not exactly where I want to go. So I went into social work really just with the desire to help people, which is fairly general, but knew that that would be the one that was best prepared me to do that, and also was general enough for me to do maybe be in a clinical setting or actually maybe do community development work, which is ended up what I'm doing now. So that's kind of how I got there. I remember when I was in middle school, really that being the first time that I thought I want to do something with my life that makes a big impact. And my faith was really important to me growing up. And as I went to college, I really was kind of looking for something that gave me purpose, would allow me to use my gifts and skills and abilities to help people. And so my faith is just really central to what I do. It's really my motivation to empower people, to strive for justice, to work for peace. That really is centered in my faith in God and in my spirituality. And that's really where those values were nurtured in me personally. I found that in my church. And so I feel like my social work practice is really an expression of that, and really kind of fuels my desire. It also just fuels my commitment. This work is really hard and it's easy to give up, but through faith, I'm able to kind of persevere and stay committed to my values and my goals and the community that I work for. Common Good is a community development organization that works with students that all live in the same neighborhoods within walking distance of our site on North Limestone. So our students come from the Castlewood, Limestone, and East End neighborhoods. And our neighborhood, if you're not familiar with it, is this beautiful picture of diversity. We have Latino immigrants, we have African refugees, we have whites and blacks, and we all live in the same neighborhood. And so while we have very different life experiences, we have different cultural backgrounds, our immigration status might not be the same. What we do have in common is that we're part of the same community. And so that kind of binds us and brings us together at Common Good. And we work mostly with students and then the families that they're a part of. So we do that through an after-school and summer program. But it's so much more than just programming. It's really committing to students for the long haul. We have students, some of them we've been working with for 10 years, and we have some that joined 2 months ago. And so we invite students and families to be part of what we're doing. And if they commit to us, we kind of commit to them. And so our journey is to help them have the opportunities they need to be the people they want to be. So sometimes that looks like making sure kids have ACT prep work as they're, juniors and seniors, and they're getting opportunities to go on college visits. Sometimes that looks like giving students leadership opportunities to help make our neighborhood the place they want it to be. So we're really focused on kind of education, recreation, spiritual formation, and leadership development. And when we started Common Good, my husband and I, it was just the two of us. It was kind of this idea we had. We didn't know if it would work. And since then, in the last 5 years, we've had many people kind of catch the vision for what we're doing. And it's so much greater than just John and I now. I wouldn't define Common Good as me or John. It's really it's our students and families. It's our 60 weekly volunteers that we have. It's the staff of 4 that we've grown to. And so many people have kind of taken up this work and are really working towards the common good in North Lexington. And that's what our work is really about. It's about solutions coming from the neighborhood that we're in. And we believe that people are best equipped to know their own neighborhood, to know their own struggles and their own strengths, and to find solutions and to be able to find ways to use their strengths. And so that's kind of what we're about at Common Good. I think one of the things that I like most about social work is that it really is focused on the whole person. It's focused on people becoming whole, whether that's through clinical work. It's focused on people having opportunities, like in community development work and justice work, or policy work. It's really focused, it's not limited to just, the well-being of a child outwardly, making sure they have enough like food and shelter, but it's also making sure they have, opportunities as they go on for education. I like that it's not fragmented. It really looks at the whole person, and I think very few professions do that. As I reflect back on friends I went to school with, or even friends I have now that are social workers, we do such vastly different things, but it's all social work. So I have friends who work in Frankfurt and help educate congressmen about different topics so that they are well informed and can make good decisions. I have friends who work at the Rape Crisis Center. I have friends who work in the hospital. I have friends doing community development work. I have friends doing human trafficking work. And all of us are called social workers. And so I just like that social work isn't one type of work, but it really spreads to all of society, all people. And that's just something I think is really rare and really beautiful. I think one thing that's been hard for me since starting Common Good and doing the community development work I do is often community development work isn't recognized fully as part of social work. So, some things I've struggled with is different colleagues or friends saying, are you ever going to go back to social work? Are you ever going to, do social work again? And for me, I'm doing social work. I'm using my degree, I'm using my passion and training every single day to work with students and to bring about wholeness for our students in our neighborhood and families that are living in our neighborhood. And so sometimes I think social work is very broad and it covers so many spectrums, but sometimes we define it as something very specific, like just clinical work or just, child protective services, something like that. And so sometimes I think even within the social work field, we narrow it too much and say only one or two types of jobs are actually social work. And so that's been hard for me to really identify myself as a social worker, but not always feel kind of embraced by the social work community because I need to do something that is different than what somebody else is doing. I think self-care is something that is very difficult no matter who you are. It's especially difficult if you're a social worker. It's especially difficult if you start a nonprofit and you're responsible for a lot of different aspects of it. You're responsible for the finances, you're responsible for managing staff, and ultimately you're responsible for the students and families that we serve. And so there are no shortages of stress. Every night when I go to sleep, there's something I could choose to worry about, whether it's a client that I'm worried about, whether it's a check that hasn't come in, whether it's a grant that I'm waiting to hear back from. I could kind of be riddled with anxiety if I wanted to all the time. And for me, what's been really important in terms of self-care is taking a Sabbath. So each week, Fridays is my Sabbath. I don't work, and I'm really able to focus. In community development work, weekends I often have to be available because there's community things that go on Saturday and Sundays. So Friday is the day that I take for myself to not do any type of work. And I'm able to do that with my husband, John. And so we just kind of set aside that time to make sure we are resting. And that has been important for us physically, emotionally, spiritually. And that's something that we've been able to do for about 7 years now consistently.